Apparently, Australia decided to follow in the footsteps of the US and the NSA. The government is weighing broad, sweeping reforms in the name of national security. For those of you who don't know, there's been reports of issues with Islamic extremism in Australia recently. So now there's a focus on cracking down on civil liberties. Think Progress reports, quote, "The Australian government is primed to give the nation's spy agency unfettered access to citizens' computer networks and potentially put journalists in jail thanks to drafted national security reform laws passed by the country's Senate on Thursday." So the National Security Legislation Amendment Bill is what we're talking about here. They say, quote, "It permits the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation to search and monitor an unlimited number of computers on a particular network based on a single warrant request. Journalists, bloggers, and government whistleblowers could also spend up to 10 years in prison for revealing details of intelligence operations." So, understand something. This is even more extreme than the NSA in the United States of America. Now, the House of Representatives has not passed this yet. They vote on it next week. We'll see how it goes. And just to make a comparison here, what this law would do, it's the equivalent of saying, not only are we going to lock up if there's an Australian Edward Snowden that, talks about, hey, man, I see how you're doing the spying, and the spying is fucked up because you're violating people's privacy rights with no actual reason. So if there's an Australian Edward Snowden under this law, well, that guy gets arrested. And then also, whoever the journalist is that released the story could get arrested and locked up for up to 10 years. So the Australian Glenn Greenwald could be in a whole heap of trouble. So this is even worse than in the United States of America, which is stunning because as far as civil liberties go on the issue of the NSA, I mean, the U.S. is pathetic, but Australia is like, no, we would like to be even worse, please. What I find so amazing about stories like this is that it shows that the people running the governments, whether it's in the U.S. or Australia or elsewhere, second world and third world countries are even worse usually with stuff like this. They have no clue what a constitution is about. They have no clue what civil liberties actually mean. They don't know a lot about political science. They're just people who were charismatic and they got power and now they're abusing the power, and oftentimes they don't even realize that they're abusing the power. So what am I saying here, or what can I use to back this up? Well, it's the whole idea of give me liberty or give me death. It's the idea that when you have a constitution or a Bill of Rights or civil liberties that are laid out in terms of this is what the people get, those things are concrete. Those things are supposed to be absolutely, positively, 100% not debatable, off the table. How dare you even bring it up? If you bring it up, you're an idiot and you're un-American, or in this case, un-Australian. Okay? But now we've gotten to a point where the lines are totally blurred, and people, they don't learn civics and they don't learn history well, so they don't know. They think everything is open to discussion and debate on the issue of, well, if we're safer, if I feel even a little bit safer by us spying on everybody's fucking porn habits like we do in America, well, then fine, go ahead and look at my porn habits. It's totally cool. Oh, you saw that I once ordered drugs online. Well, I guess you got to lock me up for 5 years now because you were illegally searching me. I mean, the founders had many flaws. This is one area where they did not have a flaw, okay? They were very, very clear. In fact, it's kind of scary. If you go back and you read the Fourth Amendment word for word, it's almost like they were able to see that the NSA would exist in the future and they were warning against it abusing its power. Okay, you're supposed to have protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. And the idea that you default to, we're going to search everything no matter what, or use one warrant for all these computer networks, or the idea that, the First Amendment, freedom of the press, that you lock somebody up because they did their job? So what do you want? You want a press that has to walk on pins and needles and only report on things that the state is going to approve of? But then it's not a free press. Then it's the opposite of a free press. How do you not see that? If everything needs to be state approved, okay, you got to color within the lines, you can't step out of bounds here, you have to make your overlords happy, well then how is the press in Australia or America any different from the press in North fucking Korea or China? Seriously. That's supposed to be the difference, that free, open, democratic societies, they embrace that people are able to speak their mind openly and not get in trouble simply for reporting information. But now we're moving backwards, not only in the United States with the NSA being totally out of hand, but now also in Australia, and in some ways this is worse. So we'll see if it passes, but if it does pass, is it a tough situation for the people of Australia.